Hello everyone, my name is John Zinzer, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about cell phones, the history of them, and how they've evolved over the last 30 years. Just a few decades ago, cell phones were just this crazy idea that everyone knew would be coming in the future, but they didn't know when, until about 1983 when the first cell phone came out. Today there are nearly as many cell phones as there are people in the world, and there are many different variations and designs, software models. Throughout the speech, I'm going to be talking a little bit about those models and how they progressed over the years, as well as what the future holds for cell phones. Alright, starting off in 1983, the first phone was a Motorola Dynatac 8000X. This was a very basic phone, had about 30 minutes of talk time per battery life, but they sold for nearly $4,000, so they were pretty much a luxury that very few people had. This phone was known as the Brick since it was literally over a foot long from top to bottom. Alright, throughout the 80s, phones progressed a little bit more and they became a little bit more portable. Throughout the 80s and early 90s, they also started to feature digital screens, and companies like Motorola and Nokia were leading the way with increased battery power, and you could store more contacts within the phone. Alright, the earliest form of the smartphone right here was the PDA, which was the Simon Personal Communicator. This was similar to an early Palm Pilot and had about 1 megabyte of storage, which is nothing compared to today's phones. But in 1993 it was quite a bit. This still was very expensive. $899 was the retail price, and that was with the contract. So again, very few people had this phone, but it was promising for the future and what cell phones would hold for everyone. Alright, by 1996, the flip phone was coming into style. Flip phone, very similar to this one. Flip phone, this was a much more portable and didn't have an antenna, so you could put it in your pocket without, jamming the antenna into your side. The Motorola StarTAC, developed in 1996, was the first one and sold over 60 million copies, making it very successful. As we went on with the smartphones, in late 90s, the Nokia 9000 communicator, which featured an Intel 386 CPU, was the first smartphone to act similar to a computer, and that you had some of the same functionalities. There was a full keyboard, so you could type out full-length emails and send them from the email application, as well as other PDA features that were on the previous PDAs, such as a calendar, memos, things like that. As the 90s came to a close, we came upon the GPS cell phone. The early GPS cell phones were black and white, very pixelated, did not have very many features, but it was still incredibly advanced for the time. Text messaging became somewhat popular in the early 2000s, much more popular in the later 2000s. But in the early 2000s, the Nokia 3210 was the first cell phone that had the T9 predictive texting. So you'd be typing a text, and as you were typing a word, it would predict what you're going to be saying throughout the text, which was not a great idea. It helped some people, but it also made a lot of people send some text that they didn't really think through, and they didn't proofread before they sent it. It could think that you're saying something other than what you meant, and make some people mad at you, as I've found in the past. They sold 160 million copies of this phone. It was very popular. As the 2000s went on, you started to see more cell phones that featured music players, such as this one right here with the touchscreen, and also this Nokia, which featured an FM radio. They're about 64 megabytes of power, meaning that you could hold about 20 songs, which is nothing compared to today. But at the time, I thought it was pretty cool. The camera phone, also similar to what's on this flip phone right here. They were starting to feature cameras. Limited megapixel, but still, you could be anywhere, pull out your phone, never miss a picture of something. The Sanyo SCP-5300 was one of the first camera phones. As smartphones became more and more popular, the PDA system Palm Pilot was leading the way throughout the early 2000s, mid 2000s. This had the PDA features from before, but much more battery power, days of battery power. It featured a camera, calendar, and basic web applications as well as email. When the Blackberries came on the market, they kind of set Palm Pilot off to the side, and the Blackberry was very customizable, had the full keyboard and a really good emailing system. So it was very popular with business travelers, and they could send full-length emails. Again, high processing power, days of battery life, and other features such as the camera and web application stuff. Since 2007, iPhones, similar to this right here, this is the iPhone 4, the iPhones have become the state-of-the-art cell phones. They're basically the PDA with the music player, video, phone, full web capability, email, and any other games, anything you can think to download. There have been many different versions. The most recent is the iPhone 5S, which features a fingerprint scanner to let you into the phone. Now, Android-based phones, which were a Linux-based software, also came into play in the late 2000s, and Android are featured on phones such as Samsung, HTC, Motorola. Very similar features to the iPhone: the touchscreen, the music player, the full web capability, and they're continuing to come out with new models and stay competitive with the iPhone. So the future of phones, they're going to be similar to the smartphones of today, but the new features you're seeing a lot more: turn-by-turn GPS, something you didn't see in the past, real-time updates with video in sports, news. You can watch live news on your phone, and there'll be many other options in the future that we won't see today. So once again, since 1983, we've seen the phone go from a very basic one-function brick to the sleek iPhones of today, which can basically do anything that a computer can in the palm of your hand, wherever you are. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.